Las Palmas to Saint Lucia, it's ARC time again, celebrating 40 years of ocean adventure.
This is ARC Live.
Good day everyone, and a very warm welcome to ARC Live. We're coming to you from the beautiful island of Gran Canaria here in Las Palmas for the start of the 40th edition of the Atlantic Rally for Cruisers, the ARC. It's a very special year, 4 decades since the very first fleet set sail across the Atlantic in 1986. Back then, just over 200 sailors took part. Today, the ARC has become the world's most famous ocean rally, bringing together sailors of all ages, from over 30 different countries, united by one incredible adventure, the crossing to Saint Lucia. This year's edition is another record breaker. Over 150 yachts are taking part, ranging from family cruisers to high-performance multihulls. The crews include seasoned ocean veterans and first-time adventurers, and together they will cover nearly 2,700 nautical miles across the Atlantic Ocean. Here in Las Palmas, we got ideal conditions for a classic ARC start. The trade winds have settled in nicely, blowing from the northeast at around 10 to 15 knots, and the sea state is moderate. Just enough to make for a lively but comfortable first few days at sea. Temperatures are hovering around 22 degrees Celsius, with plenty of sunshine and a few light clouds drifting by. A perfect day for setting sail into the Atlantic. As always, the fleet will start in 3 groups. The multihulls are first off the line at 12:30 local time. By the racing division, the fast ones at 12:45. And finally, the cruising division, the heart of the ARC at 1300. We will bring you live coverage of all 3 starts, so stay with us as the yachts cross the line, raise their sails and head out into the open water, bound for the Caribbean. Now, let us see a short summary of the Atlantic Rallies for Cruisers history.
In 1990, the ARC finished move to Saint Lucia. With new facilities at Rodney Bay and with strong local support, this made the perfect landfall and has remained ever since, offering safe berthing, warm hospitality and a festive welcome. In 2009, we introduced real-time tracking. Every yacht carried a YB tracker, providing friends, family and rally control with up-to-date positions at least every 4 hours and more, often at start and finish. In 2013, to complement the ARC Plus is launched. Introduced as an alternative route with a stopover in Cape Verde Islands. ARC Plus offered an additional destination in the Atlantic crossing and a new route for returning participants to enjoy. The fastest ARC crossing was made in 2016 by Rambler 88, a canting keel maxi, owned by George David. That team reached Saint Lucia from Las Palmas, approximately 2,700 nautical miles, in 8 days, 6 hours, 29 minutes and 15 seconds.
And what an incredible journey it has been. 40 years of the ARC, 4 decades of adventures, friendship, daring crossings and the stories that have inspired sailors all around the world during these years. From that very first fleet back in 1986 to hundreds of boats setting off today, the ARC has grown into much more than a rally. It has become a community, a tradition, and for many, a defining moment of their sailing lives. This 40th anniversary is a celebration not only of the miles sailed, but also of the thousands of people who have taken part of the rally. Families, first-timers, veterans, young sailors and the entire generations who have crossed the Atlantic under the ARC flag during these 40 years. And to reflect on this milestone, we have asked someone who has been central to the event for many years. Here we will have the thoughts from Paul from the World Cruising Club, the organizer of the ARC, sharing what this 40th anniversary means for the ARC and for the sailing community.
Hi, I'm Paul Tetlow, the Managing Director of World Cruising Club. This year we're celebrating the 40th edition of the Atlantic Rally for Cruisers. This is a huge milestone for this iconic sailing event. During our time in Las Palmas, it's been really fun to do some extra activities to mark this huge achievement in the history of a great sailing event. Our participants have enjoyed a fantastic programme here on the island, some additional parties, some fun things on the water, and now they've got a great start to look forward to. When they arrive in Saint Lucia, that excitement will continue with a few additional items on the programme, all in celebration of this iconic event, celebrating its 40th edition with ARC 2025.
While the crews have been preparing for today's start, Las Palmas has been buzzing with activities. It's been a week full of fun, color and community events, all part of the ARC experience. We had the flag parade with boats from all over the world showing their national colors. There was a dinghy race with smaller boats in the marina to the delight of spectators and families. And of course, the really important one, the costume party, bringing out the creativity and festive spirit of the sailors. And it's not just the ARC fleet that has been on the move this month. Earlier in November, the 7th of November, the ARC Plus fleet set sails from here in Las Palmas, and their route takes them first to Cape Verde for a stopover that was filled with culture, music and preparation. And before they began their Atlantic crossing from Mindelo to Grenada. The ARC Plus fleet left Cape Verde last Friday to begin their ocean passage, and many of their friends around the world following the live tracking right now as they are on their way over the Atlantic Oceans. It's an ARC Plus, it's another fantastic rally in the World Cruising Club family, and together ARC and ARC Plus bring hundreds of sailors across the Atlantic each year. And now we will connect with the race officer Paul, who's out on the starting line to give us an update on the conditions and what to expect for today's ARC departures. Hi Paul, are you with us out on the water?
I can't hear anything. Give me a countdown if I can't hear a countdown.
Hello Paul, are you with us out on the water?
Yes, I am.
Yes, how are the conditions out there right now?
Hello, I'm on the starting vessel, the Spanish warship, the Tornado, and behind me is the starting area where the fleets are assembling for today's start. The weather conditions out here on the start are bright and sunny, quite warm. I think some of the competitors would be appreciating a little bit more wind, but be careful what you ask for. So behind me we've got many of the fleets forming up. The first start is at 12:30, and that will be our multi-hull division. And they'll be followed by the cruising division at 12:45, and then the racing division at 12:45, and the main start will be for the cruising division at 1300 hours. Behind me is the offshore line, which will be used by the multi-hull division at 12:30, and the cruising division at 1300. On the boats at the moment, the participants are probably just making those final preparations for the start, sussing out where the wind is and what it's doing to put them in a nice, safe and sensible position for the start. But overall, probably they're just reflecting that here it happens. The adventure starts here. All those many weeks and months of preparations are now coming together as they set off across the Atlantic on ARC 2025. So we'll be back later with a few updates after each of the starts. And thank you for joining me on the committee vessel.
Thank you so much for that update, Paul. It's always reassuring to hear about preparations and guidance from someone right there out on the water. And as we could see, the fleet is in capable hands, and the combinations of skill, safety and preparations will make this 40th anniversary ARC a truly memorable experience for our competitors. And while the sailors are getting ready for the start, let's take a look back on the week here in Las Palmas, the events, the fun, and some of the highlights that have made this start even more special. Safety is the heart of everything we do at the Ark. For many sailors, one of the reasons they choose to join this rally rather than crossing the Atlantic on their own is the emphasis on safety, support and preparation. We require all the boats to carry specific safety and communications equipment. This includes at least one ocean life raft with enough capacity for the entire crew, mounted so it can be launched in only 15 seconds. In 15 seconds they should be able to step on the life raft. And every member of the crew must have a life jacket or combined harness, so if someone falls overboard they have the life vest, and the boat must also be equipped with equipment to recover them quickly out of the water. And to support all the sailors, especially those who are new to the ocean crossings, we provide them a comprehensive rally handbook, full of advice and guidance to select the right safety equipment. And of course, the World Cruising Club team is always available to answer questions to help our crews to prepare for their crossing. During the week here in Las Palmas, there was also a special safety seminar bringing sailors together to practice and learn critical skills before setting off to the Atlantic today. So let's take a look back at some of the highlights from this safety seminar early this week.
One of the new POB2 AIS transmitters for the life jacket, so if they fall over the side, the life jacket will inflate automatically, which will automatically pull on this ribbon that activates the AIS transponder, which will transmit to their VHF and also to everybody else's AIS in the area, so they can be rescued as quickly as possible. These are really good because you program them with your MMSI number of the radio. The closest boat that's going to save the life of these people is the boat they've just fallen off. So as soon as they get the radio call, the radio will start going to tell them that there's someone over the side, and they can go back and perform a rescue.
So that was some highlight from the safety seminar earlier this week. And as we wrap up an incredible week here in Las Palmas, one thing that has really stood out is that the Ark brings together sailors of all ages, from families with young children to crews in their 70s and even the 80s. It creates a unique mix of generations, both in the harbor and out on the water. And with all sharing the anticipation, the preparation and excitement of getting ready for the Atlantic crossing. So throughout the week, the family boats with the kids on board have docked together in the marina, and that have added a special energy to the atmosphere in the harbor. Seeing the kids playing between the pontoons while the parents exchange tips and prepare for their rally coming up. And that captures what the Ark is all about, the community, the adventure and learning from one another. It's a rally where the experience meets enthusiasm and where every crew brings something different to the docks. And yesterday we took a dock walk through the marina to meet some of the crews and get a sense of how they are feeling ahead of today's start. Let's take a look at that dock walk earlier this week.
Cross the Atlantic, are you ready?
Yes, ready is my middle name. We're always ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we are excited. Happy to go. Boat is ready, team is ready, so let's give it a go.
Ready to go. Happy that the boat's ready. I'm looking forward to some fast miles to the other side.
Are you ready?
Yes, of course.
I am, absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Not at all. We have to sleep before and to buy some things.
Yeah, we're getting there. So, definitely.
Ready.
We have never been more ready. We're happy to go.
100%.
Yeah, I think so. You're never ready, are you?
I'm super excited.
I think we're ready.
Well, I'm not going, you are. I'm just coming to say
She's going to fly there and meet me there.
Oh, the easy way.
British Airways route.
Oh.
Excited, slightly hungover, but yeah, I think we're good to go on that side.
Oh yes, since a week. We are like the horses in the starting box. Now, go!
Yes! Yes! We are!
So that was some happy crews preparing for the rally out on the water. And earlier today, Las Palmas Marina was filled with emotion and celebration as the ARC fleet cast off the lines and headed out to the sea. And we'll have a look from that dockout show earlier today when the boats got out of the marina. As we can see, it was families, friends and supporters lined the pontoons to wave our sailors off from the harbor, and one by one the boats made their way through the harbor, beginning the first stage of their Atlantic adventure here in the ARC 2025. And as we can see from these moments in the dockout show, there were happy sailors well prepared for their Atlantic crossing. And as we can see out there, there's a lot of emotions. Of course, we can see them happy, waving to the crowds on the shore. But we can also understand that there's a lot of nerves out there from the sailors. Many of them doing their first crossing ever of the Atlantic Ocean. And as we also can see on the boats out there, it's boats of all shapes and sizes. From the smaller one, family cruisers, to the big performance yachts, to these multi-hulls we can see out there, a bit more comfortable ones, perfect when they get to Saint Lucia later on, to just dock on the beaches with this. They are a bit more shallow when they go to shore, and easier to discover all the beaches around there. During this rally we have over 40 nationalities represented. Some of them are veteran ARC boats returning for another crossing, and some of them are making their first ever ocean passage. Here we can see one of the ones a bit smaller. And as we could see during this stockout show, the pontoons were packed with supporters and families cheering them off. We have heard of a lot of families that are waving goodbyes here, taking the flight route to Saint Lucia to be there on the dock to welcome them back to shore earlier. And we have talked about it earlier, in this group of boats we have both kids to veterans in their 70s and 80s. So a lot of sailors out there for the start of this year ARC 2025. And we are now getting close to the moment everyone here has been preparing for. The start of an incredible adventure across the Atlantic Ocean. In just a little while, around 150 boats will point their bows west and begin a journey that for many is the fulfillment of a lifelong dream. What makes the ARC so special is that it isn't just a sailing event. It's a truly international community. This year's fleet represents around 30 different nationalities, bringing together sailors from all corners of the globe. On the pontoons this week we have heard conversations in dozens of languages, and you can see different flags flying side by side in the harbor, and you feel that they share excitement from crews who, despite coming from very different backgrounds, are all here for the same adventure. And for the crews, this is the start of something big, a challenge, an adventure, a shared experience they carry with them long after they reach the other side of the ocean. And now, to bring you the very latest from Las Palmas and the start of this year's ARC, we'll hand over in a couple of seconds to our friends at ARC Radio, who will give you the latest from this race and the starting area. So we head over to Mats and Claire on ARC Radio. It's all yours.
This is ARC.
Hello everyone back home. This is Claire, Mats and our radio DJ sitting here and waiting to follow the start here. And we are broadcasting live over the web, and we have done that since 2 weeks back with 3 daily shows. But Claire, now we are taking the radio listeners...
we're taking them on a journey with us. We're taking them to the start of ARC 2025. How exciting is that? I mean, you can be listening in Sweden, where it's lovely and cold, or you could be listening in the USA, and everyone's going along with us. So,
fantastic.
It's getting exciting out there now. Everyone is really ready for this crossing.
Yeah, we just came out from the breakwater. We saw some footages from that earlier. Yeah. What a feeling it was out there.
Oh my goodness, the crowds are really building, and it's all the locals have come out for the spectacle. They've been watching the ARC from the Las Palmas streets. They've been seeing all the boats arrive. They've been seeing all the participants come into their shops buying buying the fruit and vegetables that they need in huge quantities. And of course, this sparks so much interest because people want to know about what happens on the ocean when these participants cross the ocean. So, you have a crew of 10 or 15, you need a lot of food on board and you need a lot of water and a lot of other things. So,
And now we have the 3 different starts coming up. First one is 12:30, just a few minutes away.
It is, yes, exciting. It's the multihulls first up. And then we have the racing division, the beautiful racing boats, which are trying to break the record of 8 days, 6 hours and 29 minutes. Let's see if they can do it. That was set by Rambler back in 2016. So they've been, every year they try and break that record, and we haven't done it yet. So let's see.
How many multihulls do we have in the first start, Claire?
32 multihulls. That's quite something, isn't it?
Yeah, we saw some trimarans as well when we were docking out.
2 trimarans. We've got one a Neil 52 and a Rapido. Trimaran as
and
well.
also in that fleet we have, I know we have a catamaran Idefix that are sailing with kids.
That's right. We have a few kids. We've got Ganesha as well. They've got 2 kids on board. That's a British family. Idefix are from Petra near Hayes. They are is a German family.
I think they're Dutch.
Dutch family. Okay, Dutch family, and they've got 3 of them on board, I believe, on that Outremmer.
That's correct. So and we see that the most represented brand to this year in the cat fleet is Lagoon.
Is it Lagoon?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, I would have thought that the Outremmer was but Lagoon. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also a lot of Outremeres.
Yes, there were a lot of Outremeres in the Arc Plus, and I think there was a few of them in Arc as well. So yeah, there's a broad range. And looking at our stats in front of us here, we have the youngest skipper is a 21-year-old.
Yeah,
21-year-old on board Whimsy, which is a swan. A beautiful swan. 46, that's right. And then on the girls' team, Carissa, we've got an 80-year-old skipper.
Yeah, the oldest skipper.
Her the other day, didn't you? And she, wow, I mean, if I can be 80 skippering a boat of girls, then I'll be proud of myself, that's for sure.
That's right.
No, and Federico, the youngest skipper, 21 years old on the Swan 46, or Swan 48, sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Fantastic.
But, I mean, how brave is he? He's all his crew are going to be older than him and telling him what to do, no doubt. But he's got to take the helm and make sure that they listen to him, which is what it's all about. And teamwork is what it's. Once you're out on the water, you're all one team, and making it all happen together.
Yeah, that's correct.
So yeah.
So I think we are getting close to. We are leaving over to Johan in the studio in Sweden.
Thank you, Mats and Claire. And out here underwater, we are preparing for the first start of this year's Arc. It's less than 5 minutes for the first starting group. That is the multihulls. And out on the water, we have Peter. Peter, can you tell us how is the feeling out on water? The excitement of the sailors? How are they preparing the last minutes for start?
Yeah, well, I'm stood up here, up towards the buoy end of the line now, Johan, and the conditions are pretty light. I'd say the waves are very sloppy, and that's probably a reflection of the fact that the last few days has been pretty unsettled. We've had everything from pretty windy storms to rain to now what we have is light breeze. So I'd say the boats are struggling to negotiate with what you might refer to as a bit of slop, which is making things difficult for them to hold their position on the start line. Nonetheless, things are fairly congested. Boats are really coming together, and I think despite the fact that this is a rally, I think there is a friendly competitive spirit among the boats, and they want to set off well.
Yeah, sounds like perfect conditions out there for us sitting at home. Can you tell us a bit about the wind conditions? Will it be downwind, upwind, or what is it out from the start?
Yeah, it's to be honest difficult to tell because it has been flicking around all morning. Got a very light breeze of about 5 knots from the northern end of the island. So in some ways that'll be helpful for the crews as it will take them down towards the south, which is ultimately their destination, and ultimately will take them down towards the trade winds. which will help them across in a westerly direction in off to Saint Lucia. It's, I suspect, going to be a difficult day or so to start off their passage because the breeze is so light here. But from experience, it's better to have a light start to a long trip like this because it can really settle you in. You don't want to be struggling with the breeze. You want your first few meals, your first few nights of sleep to be a bit more relaxed, and then once you're comfortable sailing across in an ocean, which is an entirely different thing to sailing in a coastal setting, you can start to get into your groove and perhaps try a few more different things.
Yeah, interesting to see out there. We could see some footage from one of the boats out there, and we can see it's not much wind, but a bit of waving out there. And the multihulls is starting in about 2 minutes. And is there any of them that you are having a special look for on these multihull boats?
Yeah, well, as I said at the start of this broadcast, I'm down up towards the buoy end of the line. I'm actually sat next to an Australian boat, Cut and Run, and these boys were very relaxed as they were leaving the harbour. They had their barbecue on the back of the boat, which was fun. But I know from chatting to them that they're very experienced. They have an Olympian on board, and just looking at them now, they're starting to unroll their head sail. What looks to be a code zero. A lot of the other boats around it are just starting to unroll their head sails. Many of them motored out to the start, so that's the reason they're only doing that now with about sort of 90 seconds to go towards the start. There'll be a bit of congestion towards the buoy end of the line, but I suspect nothing will happen too fast as, you know, the wind conditions being this light.
Yeah, and we can see now that it's about 1 minute to the start of this ARC 2025 first start group of the multi-hull boats, and they are doing the last preparations and gathering together out there. For many of them, it's not so important to be the fastest one out there, but to be safe and going out there. Or what do you think, Peter?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Johan, because on one level, we always state that it's a rally, not a race. It's about cruising in company, which brings a certain degree of safety. And also the fact that you've got 2,700 nautical miles of open ocean in front of you does mean that the start is less important. But that said, you know, some of these boats down towards the buoy end, the windward end of the line, are really close together. There's some boats just a boat length or two apart. So, as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast, there is that friendly, competitive spirit among the boats.
Yeah, there we have the start of this ARC 2025. The boats in the multi-hull class are on their way across the Atlantic Ocean for their crossing of their lifetime. What do you say about the start out there, Peter?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Just as you said that, as the start happened, boat Sinky, which I believe is the first Nautatech 48 catamaran to ever complete the ARC, fired up its engine at what seemed to be full speed. So they've got one motive ahead, and that's just get full steam ahead. However, a couple of the boats just behind have popped what looked to be code zero sails and are off to a nice start just at this windward end. I'm looking at Matilda, and I'm looking at a few others behind which have also popped their code zero sails.
Peter, for the ones who are new into the ARC and following this broadcast, can you tell us what's the rules about engine and stuff like that? Are they allowed to use their motor?
Yeah, so in the racing division, you're not allowed to use your motor. However, in the other divisions, you are allowed to use your motor. However, it's you're instructed to keep a log of engine hours because that will be deducted from your time at the end, because we do have a prize giving in Saint Lucia. As I mentioned, this is a rally. It's not a race, but there is that friendly competitive spirit.
Yeah, interesting, and we can see these lovely pictures with Las Palmas in the background when the multi-hull boats have made their start across the Atlantic Ocean. Thank you, Peter, for now. We'll get back to you later on, and we shall instead head over to the race committee boat with our race officer, Paul. Paul, what can you say us about this start of the first one, multi-hulls?
Well, yes, the multihulls are now off and underway. It was a good start in that nobody was over the line at the beginning. And you can see behind me, roughly where the red sail is, that marks the other end of the line. And the boats are crossing. I think we've got 15 boats across just a few minutes after the start. So even though it's quite light winds, the boats are passing in quite quick succession over the outer distance line here. And despite our earlier reports of light winds at the start, I think there's sufficient here to get the boats going, which is great news. You can see the crews on the boats nearest to us just getting the sail sets, having crossed the line, then heading out south down the east coast of Gran Canaria, and then heading towards their final destination of Saint Lucia.
Thank you, Paul, and we love these lovely pictures from the boats in the multi-hull class leaving Las Palmas out there, heading across the Atlantic Ocean. And if you want to follow the boats, we'll of course give you the latest update during this broadcast. But after the broadcast, you can follow on World Cruising Club's webpage. There is a live tracking where you can follow the boats all the way over the Atlantic Ocean. And the same to the Arc Plus fleet that's already on their way over. You can also follow the tracking on the webpage. And now we will start to prepare for the next starting group, that is the racing class, the boats that are racing and want to really go as fast as possible out there. Of the boats.
So we are on board Next Gen by Yayo, and we are joined by the co-skipper Gus. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks for asking.
Tell us a little bit about the boat, the VO65.
The VO65, what can I tell? I think most people know the boat from the ocean race. This boat has done the ocean race 2 times around the world and 1 time in Europe, and have seen a lot of miles during the last 10 years it has sailed, and looking forward to make some more miles in the next coming years, together with me, co-skipper, and with Johan, the owner. We're looking forward to some nice racing, but also guests, and want to show people how nice sailing on this boat can be.
Because so how many people are you on board for the crossing this time?
For the crossing this time we have 14 people. We all have to do their thing on board. You can see the pedestals, not going by itself. So we need the manpower, we need the crew to keep pushing this boat fast, because that's our aim, to go as fast as possible to the other side, of course.
Yeah, talking about going fast. This year we have 13 boats in the racing division. You are one of them. Yeah. What are you targeting? What is your aim?
Now we're aiming. Hard to say, it's all weather dependent, but I did some routings last days and the weather is looking good at the beginning. We have some wind, but also a big soft spot in the middle. So it can be around 10 days for us. If you are lucky, it can reduce to 9. If you're unlucky, it can increase a bit, but let's aim for that 10, and then I think we will be a happy crew to be in Saint Lucia in 10 days from the 23rd.
Yeah, so talking about routing, does it look like a northerly route for you or southerly?
Oh, they're still very variating at the moment. So
very patchy in the middle.
They're very patchy in the middle. So you have two options to go north or south, and you know that. And for now they're quite close together, but as soon as we come close to the start, we'll hopefully have some better stable models to see if we are really going in the south or the north route. But the north route now seems a bit more beneficial. That was my...
We will see on the other side where we are meeting you in 10 days, you said. 9.
9. Let's aim for 10.
Thank you, guys. Best of luck.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
So that's Team Yayo, one of the fastest boats in this year's ARC, planning to arrive in Saint Lucia in 9 to 10 days. It will be really interesting to follow the tracking during this 1.5 weeks and see how fast are they. Will they arrive there on their scheduled time? Or will they maybe run out of food if the wind disappear for them? We will see, follow all the happening on the live tracking during this rally. Out on the water, we can see the boats out there in the background, joining, going out on the water, heading out to the ocean for this big adventure. And they have now put all the stuffs on board away, and now we're getting ready for this rally ahead of them. And soon we'll have the next start, the racing division, and we are now heading over to our Arc Radio friends, and I hand it over to you, Mats and Claire in Arc Radio.
Yes, we are back here in our radio studio and live studio here in Las Palmas on the Arc Village, Claire. And did you see the start?
I did. That looked very exciting. It's quite a tactic that Slinky used there, but one that worked.
Yes, it did indeed. And now we have the racing division coming up. Tell us.
Oh, racing division. We've got 10 boats in our racing division. Some really, really good-looking boats in the racing division, all poised for taking the line honours in racing division. We have Next Gen of J-Joe.
Yeah, that's the old Brunel, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that's right, a Volvo 65. It's 22 meters LOA, so its length is 22 meters. It's got a crew on board that is ready to win, and it's quite a good-looking boat, I must say.
Yeah, and the boats in the racing division, as you heard before, they are racing under the rating rule IRC, and that is actually the fastest one. I think it's on 1.622. And the smallest one in the racing division.
The smallest one, Heartbeat, a mere 35 feet. And we went on board Heartbeat. They have no kitchen. They just have a little gas burner. And I was chatting to one of the crew on board. It's just a double hander, obviously, being so small. And she was saying, yes, as long as there's not big waves, then it's fine. Because obviously with a small boat like that, you feel it. So it'll be interesting to see whether speed is it's obviously affected by the type of boat, but how fast we can get Heartbeat across the Atlantic Ocean, because she is fitted out to get across there quite quickly. So
we have a couple of swans.
Yes, we have a few of them. We have Stella of Rock.
Yeah.
She's a Swan 82. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah. And we have the Baltic 65, the Remax.
Remax, yes, also a beautiful boat.
We visited the Remax the other day, and I was asking if they are going to have dry food, and they said, no, we are Italian. And they showed us the pasta
all
stash.
The pasta on board. I think there's a bit of a competition between all our Italians on how much pasta they can eat.
And we have a few Grand Soleils as well.
Yes, the Grand Soleil 46 Belladonna.
Yeah.
That is 14 meters in length, so also going to be quite fast, I suspect, as well as Victoria, the Grand Soleil 52.
Yeah, brand new boat from Grand Soleil there, from the French. I know the French dealers on board, and they have a lot of rock stars on board as well.
Yeah. Beside them, we'll have Sao George, a Harmony 52. So I suspect that there should be quite a good competition between the two boats, the Grand Soleil.
Yeah, and that one is actually skipped by one of our yellow shirts.
Really?
The World Arc, Port Pindle.
Oh, great.
So we're looking forward for the start of the racing division. And as we heard earlier, no propulsion for the racing division, of course, as they are running under IRC.
We're looking at the start line there. I see they should be getting back. Yep, they're getting ready.
Yeah. So back to you, Johan, again in Sweden. And as we heard earlier, no propulsion for the racing division, of course.
Thank you, Mats and Claire, for this report of the boats in this coming up second start with the racing division. Out there on the water, we still have Peter. Peter, how is the feeling in these boats that are racing the racing division?
Hi, Johan. Yeah, different feeling, much smaller fleet this time, but it's interesting to see these boats line up. There's some really serious racing boats. You mentioned Team Jiajiao there, which you were showing the package on earlier. I was actually on board with them last week, and it is a completely stripped out boat down below, fully carbon. And their keel can cant to actually 40 degrees. So when they hit the stronger breeze out in the middle of the Atlantic, I expect them to really take off in speed. They'll definitely be one of the favorites for line honours, because they claimed to me that they'd hit 32 knots of boat speed, which is completely bonkers to your average sailor.
32, it's crazy, yeah? Do you have any other favorites for the line honour to be the first one in Saint Lucia?
I'm not sure about line honours, but I was on board with actually the smallest boat in the overall arc, Heartbeat 2, she's skippered by a German lady, Marlene, and again, totally stripped out down below. It's a JPK 1030, And while they're unlikely to be winning line honours, I think they'll do particularly well on the handicap system because they'll not be as heavily penalised as some of the larger boats we may see rock up for this racing division.
Yeah, because this IRC class that they are using is a handicap system working similar to like golf for you are new into sailing. But the thing is here that the boat class or the specific boat has a handicap counting that depends on the sails used, how big is the boat, and many different things. And we use this handicap to count, multiply it with the time we sail on this course, and then we get a winner with this shortest calculated time will be the winner of the racing division. Peter, we have about 2 minutes and 40 seconds out there. Do they getting close to the line?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's interesting is, and what you will see from the footage is, they actually have a different start line, and it's much closer down towards the Spanish naval patrol vessel, which the races are started on from. So they're getting congested, just like in the multi-hull start, but at a completely different area, closer to the shore of Las Palmas, with a buoy just to the leeward side of them. So expect them to start closer to the boat, unlike the multi-hulls, which were starting much closer to the buoy end.
Yeah, we can see this starting line here between the yellow buoy in the down right corner and the big navy vessel in the upper right corner. It's there between there. You will cross in about 1 minute and 45 seconds. What about the conditions out there, Peter? Is it the same and when the multi-hull started?
Yeah, it's roughly the same conditions. However, one of the unique things about sailing in and around the Canary Islands is you do get these acceleration zones. So what that is when the wind comes down and accelerates in between the hillsides on the different islands. So you'll have calm spots just behind the hills, and as you can see from the drone footage, there are some significant hills on Gran Canaria, but in between the islands, you might get an extra 5 to 8 knots more. So actually, when these boats clear the start line, they may find things an awful lot easier. And then actually they'll be able to head further south and reach those trade winds, which will be so important to them for heading in a westerly direction over towards Saint Lucia.
Yeah, it will be interesting for them, and we can see on this picture it's a really light wind out there. They have a hard time to fill their sails with wind, and they really need to concentrate now when we have about 30 seconds to the start. In this division, they are racing. They want to start as quick as possible after the starting line, and we can see the line is between the navy vessel and the yellow buoy close to shore. In this view, we really can see the nice views of Las Palmas in the background here, when this ARC 2025 racing division will start in about 10 seconds. Peter, take us through the start here. 8 seconds left.
Yeah, absolutely. There goes the starting cannon with a bit of smoke off the back. I think no boat wanted to be over, and I think no boat was even close to being over. They loaded up with their sails hoisted from quite a long distance back, but I think on a distance of 2,700 nautical miles, you absolutely don't want to be over, because the penalties can be, up to 3 hours or even more, which for these racing classes, which are really trying to beat each other, as you mentioned with the IRC rules, similar to a golf handicap, yeah, they want to claim every single hour that they possibly can.
Yeah, and we now see these really beautiful views of this smaller group of boats, the racing division, heading out to the Atlantic Ocean for this crossing of 2,700 nautical miles. For many of them, the crossing of their lifetime. And out on the water on the race committee vessel, we have our race officer, Paul. Paul, are you with us? Can you tell us how was this racing division start?
Hello, back on the committee vessel. You can see behind me the racing division on the inshore line, crossing between the committee vessel and the yellow buoy and the far end, and behind them the beautiful city of Las Palmas. So it was a good clean start for the racing division. and difficult conditions with the light winds, but you can see just crossing the line there, Heartbeat 2, with behind them is JJ. I mean, what a difference of two boats in our racing division represented the smallest boat of the fleet and one of the largest. So great to see them crossing the line almost together. And in the foreground there, Remax just crossing very close to the committee vessel. We've got start 3 for the cruising division to prepare for soon. So we'll be back from the committee vessel when that starts happens. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Paul, and well done out there with these two first starting groups of this ARC 2025. We can see the nice views out there in the background. We can see the multihulls, and here close to shore still we have this racing division and also the Navy crew out here on this big Navy vessel that are acting as race committee vessel during this event. And we'll soon have the next start, that is the cruising division, the heart of the ARC. And first we'll have an interview with one of the joining vessels.
Angus Small. We're on the boat Wakanui from New Zealand. We bought it in the end of 2023 in Palma. Spent a year and a half sailing through the Med from Greece and Croatia and everywhere basically. And then Gibraltar about mid-October, and got here, did 2 weeks in Lanzarote, and now we're here. Been here 3 weeks, just prepping and relaxing.
Fantastic. So Angus, tell me, why did you choose to do the ARC and not go across the Atlantic on your own?
Bucket list.
Bucket list.
Basically a bucket list.
Okay.
There's 6 of us on board. We've all been sailing together for 30 years.
Wow.
Some of us longer.
Okay.
We're all keen yacht racers from New Zealand, but very much on a cruising boat for this trip.
Nice, okay.
It'll be a little competitive.
So is it friends or family on board, or both?
My wife, and then everyone else is friends.
Friends,
from a long
okay,
time ago.
great. And I've heard from you that you are going all the way to New Zealand. So are you going to have the same crew all the way through, or are you planning on changing crew, or different friends and family coming to meet you? Or?
Changing crew. So we go through Panama mid-March, in Tahiti for 3 months, Tonga and home. But we've got different groups of friends joining us for the long trips.
Nice.
Otherwise
Excellent.
it's just Julie and my wife.
Oh, fantastic. It's going to be a good trip. And tell us, so the boat you said was bought in Greece. Are you
in Palma.
In Palma, sorry. Were you planning on, so when you get to New Zealand, will you hold on to her and cruise around New Zealand, or do
Not
go
sure.
up to Fiji, which is what New Zealanders like to do, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly Fiji.
Yeah.
We've got partners in the boat, and it's up to the 4 of us to figure out what we're going to do next year.
Yeah, great.
2 years.
2 years' time, yeah. It seems like a lifetime away, but it'll go so quickly. Great. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for giving us the time. And the camera will be live on your boat, so we'll be seeing the footage straight from your boat. So, thank you for joining us.
No problem at all.
There we could hear from one of the boats in the heart of ARC, the cruising division that are doing their last preparations to go and soon do the start and cross the Atlantic Ocean. But we'll have a look on the racing division here behind me for a little bit more. And as you can see, they are slowly heading out on the water. It's not so much wind out there. We have been talking about 5 to maybe 10 knots of wind from northeast, and giving the nice conditions these first few days to safely getting the routines with sleeping, eating and all the stuff out there, because you need to have your watches where some of the crew sleep while the other ones are working on board, and then you need to shift that during the day. And this is a really good day for the start. We have perfect ARC weather, the sun is shining, no clouds on the sky. Maybe want a little bit more of wind so they can fill their sails safely and go a bit more fast out on the water. And this racing division, as we said before, they are heading out on water. They are competing for real. It's the IRC rule, the international sailing rule with a handicap system where they compete against each other. Even though they are really different types of boats. Some of them are really big, heading out there and planning to do the crossing in 9 to 10 days, while some of them are really small and will have much more time out there. But this handicap system helps us to calculate them and tell us who is the winner after the crossing in Saint Lucia. And we will soon prepare for the next starting group, who is the cruising division, the heart of ARC. And to help us prepare for this and tell us about the boats competing in this rally for the cruising division, we have our friends on ARC Radio. And ARC Radio will hand over to Mats and Claire, who will give us the instructions and preparations for the cruising division of ARC 2025.
So welcome back to the studio here in Arc Village. Claire, what an interesting start it was with the racing division.
Absolutely, yes. It's always exciting to watch the racing division going over the line. But next we have the cruising division.
We have the
Even more
cruising
exciting.
division, yes. 103 boats is going to depart 2,700 miles across the Atlantic. And tell us, Claire, the 103 boats, do we divide them into classes or divisions?
Yep, so each class is representative of a group of boats that are similar in size and in capabilities. So the first class is the A class, and that is for the bigger boats. So we range in size from a 77-foot CNB to a 55-foot or a 50-foot Pegasus. So it's anything between 50 and 77 feet in Class A.
Yeah.
So a range of boats there, from a Baltic 67 to, which is Magnoletti, to Gigi, which is a Solaris 74, and then all the way down to, even got a challenge boat, Albatross, which is one of the challenge 67s.
And all these boats, they've been given a TCF, a time correction factor. So Class A, you can say that should be the fastest class.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see. Maybe the smaller boats are faster, who knows?
And then Class B, then we have the fastest boat. There's all the oysters are in there.
Yes, I see the oysters. Although I said that they put them in size, I see there's some 59 oysters in Class B. So we have all the oyster 595s, Welcome, Carolina, Zenobia, Alpenglow, and Firefly. Firefly is a Genoa 51. So yes, then we have. So they range between 59 and around about 48 feet in Class B.
In Class C, that's the middle average size, should be coming down a little bit.
Yes, so we've got Clipper boats in that one. So the Clipper 60s, which is Blue Jay and Hummingbird.
Yep.
They've got quite a big crew on board, so no doubt they should be quite heavy.
Yeah.
In terms of weight. So I'm not sure how fast they will be, but let's wait and see. Only time will tell. And going down the line, we then have Class D, which is probably looking at it. We're looking at the most popular size range of our ARC 2025 entrants, which is between 40 and 50 feet. So we have from a Beneteau First 47 down to a class.
Yeah, and then Class E, just to wrap it up here before we leave over to the studio again. It's the smallest boat there, I think we have now. It's the Rustler 36, if I remember correct.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Gannet is its name.
Yeah.
Gannet.
So that's all from here now, and we are leaving over to Johan again in the studio. We leave over to the studio again. It's the smallest boat there, I think.
Thank you, Mats and Claire, for giving this information about the cruising division, the heart of the ARC 2025. It's this 40th anniversary out here, and we have the last group of boats, over 100 boats preparing for the start in about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. And out on the water we have our friend out there, Peter. Peter, can you tell us about how is the feeling in this community of boats, the cruising division?
Yeah, no, it's a real cacophony of boats and sounds and everything. I'm not much of an artist, but if I could paint a picture of this, it would be absolutely brilliant to see. I think while these boats are not in a racing division per se, they will still want to get off the line well, and they'll still want to do themselves proud. But I think it's a really great thing to see so many boats.
Yeah.
There's over 100 boats in this division, and many of them have been preparing for several years for this moment. So there's a real joyous atmosphere out here on the water.
Yeah, and this group, we can see them here out on water. It sails everywhere when they are preparing for the start, and this group will use the longer starting line, the same one as the Multihull division used earlier, the one more out in the ocean from the Navy vessel. And we will have a starting line between the Yellow Boy and the Navy vessel. And we can see the boats here. What can you say about the weather condition out there? How much wind is it in the fleet out there?
Yeah, pretty similar to the first two starts, to be honest, and from a similar direction, blowing down pretty much from the northern end of the island, which will be a benefit to the boats as they head south into that trade wind band, as I mentioned earlier. I can see, looking ahead to the multi-hull classes, a few of them have popped their spinnakers, which is always a pleasing sight to see if you are in this cruising division and looking ahead to what you're going to be doing. But yeah, it's going to be a nice, calm start for these guys. Nice way to settle into a long voyage. I've been on my fair share of blue water cruising voyages and had some rough ones to begin with. It's never nice after spending some time in the marina where you're safely on dry land to then all of a sudden being thrust into a 2,700 mile voyage.
Yeah, we could see some pictures there on board one of the boats, Vakanui. It was also the one that we had an interview with earlier. It's the boat of the model Hanse 495, almost 50-foot long boat. Peter, how important do you think it is for these guys to have this calm weather as the start of this Atlantic crossing, these 2,700 nautical miles? How important is it to have these calm conditions in the beginning to set their routine on board?
Yeah, absolutely, Johan. It's really important. I think something people don't state enough when it comes to ocean sailing is actually how taxing it is on your body. You know, they talk about how taxing it is on the boats and how the ropes perhaps get worn, but the sleep deprivation you can often get when the boat's rolling around is pretty serious. So a nice couple of calm days to start. You know, speaking to competitors on the docks, they're generally not too disappointed to hear that.
And as we can see out on our live video out there, it's starting to become a bit tight on the line. How tight is it out there in the fleet right now?
Absolutely, it's tight as it can be, really. I'm right in the middle of it here towards the buoy end, as I was with the multi-hull start. You get boats of all shapes and sizes doing the arc, and as I mentioned, we've got over 100 different boats within this division, and they're all gunning for this buoy end of the line. So you do the maths, 100 boats all piling in, it's going to be pretty tight.
Yeah, it's really tight out there. We have about 4 to 5 seconds to this last start of ARC 2025. It's the cruising division, the heart of the Atlantic Rally for cruisers, who are doing their really last preparations for this crossing of about 2,700 nautical miles to Saint Lucia. And we can see up there, you are at the buoy, Peter, 25 seconds to go. Please take us through this really fantastic start out there.
Yeah, so the crews have just deployed their head sails. It looks as if, and I can't make the name of it, but there's a French boat is a touch early, so they've had to stuff up into the breeze just a little bit. You wouldn't want to be early and have to be penalised this early into the crossing. And there goes the horn. I think they've just managed to scrape away with it. But best start of the fleet probably goes to the Norwegian boat just above it. Again, I can't quite make out the name, just looking into the glare of the sun. But the boats are away, and I think the overriding emotion will just be joy. Really, I'm sat next to a boat, Adrian here, and they are taking photos. Something they'll probably send back to their family through the Starlink. And yeah, smiles all around, really. It's go time, baby.
Yeah, it's go time, and it's a really beautiful view you're giving to us from Las Palmas. These boats, more than 100 boats setting off out to the Atlantic Ocean for their crossing. And as we can see in the picture, some of them are using their motor out here to find maybe some free air. Peter, can you tell us again what's the rules for the multi-hull division and the cruising division regarding using their engine?
Yeah, so you have to keep a log of your engine hours, and you will be penalised for the use of the engine. Now, it depends really on the conditions of the Ark each year. If it's a really windy Ark, then you wouldn't necessarily need to use your engine, so you'd be penalised more. But in light weather like this, you would be penalised less. Now, it's an interesting one as well because boats will have different fuel capacities. My personal opinion is I wouldn't use my engine this early into a long voyage because I might need it later in the voyage. But some of these boats have large fuel tanks and they'll feel quite comfortable using their engine this early on.
Yeah, and then that's also one of the interesting things with this rally, because it's so big range of these boats. Some of them are really large with large fuel capacity, while some of them are smaller boats with almost non-fuel capacity. But as we can see, some of them are right now having a tough moment to find the wind. We have some big boats with large masts taking the wind, and the other ones to leeward are just laying there with the sails flapping with no wind. And then it might be a smart idea to use the engine and get out there in some free air and get the speed ahead. Yeah, Peter.
Absolutely. I'm sat just next to Adrenalina, and they've managed to nail the start and pop their code 0. So they've got off to a flyer, but anyone who's ever raced knows that it can be really tricky getting going in waves when you're struggling for breeze. But we're up and going, and 40th edition of the Ark underway.
Yeah, and you are close to the boats out there. How is the feeling? Are they smiling out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think many of them will have prepared for years and years. So this sort of tapestry of colours of all the boats coming together, not just the ones in their division, but the ones they can see ahead in the multi-hull and the racing division, it just does paint a beautiful picture of all the colours, shapes, sizes. We've got over 40 different nationalities, so there's so many flags to be looking at, languages to hear. So it's beautiful to be out here on the water.
Yeah, it's looks really amazing. I want to be there too. I hope to join you out there next year. Thank you for now, Peter. We'll get back to you in a couple of minutes, and we will head over to the race officer, Paul. Paul, can you tell us about this last start, the cruising division of the Ark 2025?
Hello, yes, I'm back on the committee vessel. Behind me are the cruising division crossing over the offshore line. Today on the committee vessel, it's been a fantastic atmosphere as we've had many local supporters join us from the city and the island, and some of the military organisations as well. It's been fantastic to have that elevated view from the warship Tornado to give us our committee vessel this afternoon. So yes, doesn't it make a wonderful sight as the cruising division crossing the line, heading off south down the east coast of Gran Canaria. I imagine for those crews on board, this is a really momentous occasion. They've probably been thinking about this for many weeks, months and years, and now it's finally happening for them, which has been great. So it rounds off what's been a great programme in Las Palmas. Hopefully the boats are feeling well prepared and excited about what's ahead of them, and are looking forward to settling down to their time at sea, enjoying some good routine and hopefully a bit more steadier winds than we've enjoyed today, and then obviously getting across to Saint Lucia. The start conditions today have improved as we've gone through the series of the 3 starts. I think when we first anchored on the committee vessel, we were quite concerned about the wind conditions and how light it was, but it has filled in a little for the boats, and it's nice to see the cruising division getting off to a good start. So that's us from the committee vessel. We've had a great time here. It's been good to have 3 clean starts with the boats and to see them off on their way on Ark 2025. So thanks very much for following from the committee vessel. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Paul. Really well done out there on the race committee vessel. And we can see these lovely pictures out there with these boats heading out to the Atlantic Ocean for this historical 40th anniversary of Atlantic Rally for Cruisers 2025. It's a big amount of sailors heading out there now, and Peter, the last division, have been sailing for about 6 minutes now. What can you say about what you see out there on the water?
It's slightly more spread out since you last chatted to me. A few boats have started to get their spinnakers up, which is good to see. You know, when I was first in the marina this morning, I was a bit worried that it was going to be too light for them to fly their spinnakers. But seeing them all pop their spinnakers now, or at least a fair chunk of them, fills me with a bit of optimism that they'll be able to get further south. There's many people who've done Atlantics multiple times, I think, you know, up to 16, 18 times. And their advice is always just get south, because that's where the consistent westerly breezes, or easterly breezes, will be taking you in a westerly direction to Saint Lucia.
Yeah, and we have spoken a bit about these trade winds, and what important are the trade winds for the sailors out there during these weeks upcoming?
Absolutely. Well, the trade winds are called such because they would have traditionally transported goods across the Atlantic in that direction. But what they now in the arc is generally pretty consistent breezes at this time of year. Yes, you're going to get occasional squalls or, you know, high pressure systems which might provide lighter breeze, but usually the participants can expect pretty consistent breezes which will take them across in about 18 to 21 days is what we expect.
Yeah, it will be interesting days and for the sailors out there. I talked a bit earlier about this watch system for the sailors, about sleeping, working, eating and all the stuff. For how long time do they normally be allowed to sleep in the teams?
Yeah, well, Johan, it's very much a thing which is decided crew on crew. You know, some boats will have more crew on board, so they'll have an ability to have more people on watch at one time. Some people might even be sailing the boat just 2 people. So you'll have to amend it depending on that. But also some people like to do a watch on their own. I think for me, one of the special things about doing the Atlantic, the times I've done it, is that feeling of kind of disconnect from the rest of the world. So I quite like doing a watch on my own, but others need that company. So it's something which is discussed in advance, but usually you get a couple of hours on and then sort of maybe 6 or so hours off. But it really depends crew on crew.
Yeah, and important to get the sleep at least so you have the energy during the whole rally.
Absolutely. I mentioned earlier, I think people talk about how taxing the Atlantic can be on the boat itself. It's like a season's worth of wear in 3 weeks of sailing. However, it can also be really taxing on your body. Some people maybe only sleep about 5 or 6 hours a night, and while that seems okay for a couple of days, after 3 weeks that really wears on your body, and you know, it wears on your body as you're sailing and being highly active. So rest assured, when these people arrive in Saint Lucia, they will be pretty tired and well in need of a warm Caribbean reception.
Yeah, it's a good place to arrive and you're that tired to get to the Caribbean and Saint Lucia. Peter, we have talked about that one of the fastest boats planned to arrive in Saint Lucia in about 9 to 10 days. But when do you expect to get the biggest group of boats? How long time do they need to get there?
Yeah, Johan, so we estimate that boats arrive between 18 and 21 days across the Atlantic. So probably that's in and around the 14th of December. So they'll have a nice period in around Christmas, at least in the lead up to it. Many of them will spend Christmas in the Caribbean, which is a really unique experience, something I've done many times and really enjoyed it. And of course, experience that St. Lucian hospitality.
Yeah, and it sounds perfect to arrive there just before Christmas and celebrate Christmas in St. Lucia. And as Peter said, we expect them to arrive in Saint Lucia in about 18 to 21 days. Of course, the boats are really different sizes of boats, so some of them are faster and some of them are slower. And you can always follow them on the tracking system live on. You find it on World Cruising Club's webpage. So just click in there on worldcruising.com and click you through to ARC and the tracking of both the ARC fleet and the ARC Plus. ARC Plus fleet have started their journey over the Atlantic Ocean last Friday. And the system we're using for this tracking is a yellow brick, and we will show you it to you out there right now. And we can see here this system where we have the boats right now close to Gran Canaria in the ride, but we can also see the weather forecast out there, how it is, the expected wind out there. And as we can see, we have these trade winds with a lot of wind from northeast, from the upper right corner and going in to the left in the screen and in the world, and that gives our competitors wind from behind a bit easier way than if you would have gone the other way and heading upwind, as we can see. And I don't know if I can zoom in on the boats close to Gran Canaria to show you this tracking system and the course. Also, we have had a start in Las Palmas on the northeast side of Gran Canaria, and the first part of the race now is for them to go around the island, right now heading southeast, and then later on they will turn around the island and heading to southeast and Saint Lucia. And I think that we'll see a lot of different strategy around this on the Atlantic crossing. Some will go a bit north and some of them a bit more south, depending on the latest weather forecast, where they think the best winds will be out there and heading later on to Saint Lucia. So this tool that we are showing you right now, you can use that for the whole crossing during this ARC 2025, and also possible to follow ARC Plus fleet on their way from Cape Verde to Caribbean also. So use this one during the race and follow them, and also on Facebook, ARC Atlantic Rally for Cruisers Facebook page will also give you the latest updates. Peter, we're back on the water. We're seeing these beautiful boats out there. Can you give us a last update here on the situation out on the water?
Yeah, well, I think in short, as I said earlier, it's go time, baby. It's time for all these boats to just enjoy what is going to be an epic experience crossing the Atlantic. Not many people get to do it in life, so it is a true privilege. I can remember one time I looked up, saw the International Space Station and realized they are the closest other human beings. So it is a really special time, and a time with your crew, bonding with them. As I've mentioned, it is a rally, it's not a race. So the bonds which these guys will make with the fellow participants in the rally will be truly special. I think when they arrive in Saint Lucia, it's not the end. You know, as I didn't mean that to sound bleak or anything, but it is not the end in the sense that these friendships last for life. And I have no doubt that they will have an incredible time going forward off the back of the ARC 2025.
Yeah, thank you, Peter, from the update out there. And we see these last pictures of the boats. We're waving goodbye to them for their crossing out on this Atlantic Rally for Cruises 2025. And it has been an honor to have you with us from home, both on Facebook and YouTube. And if you missed the start of the broadcast, it will all be available to see in full for free afterwards. We have closed this broadcast down, and you can see it many times. Watch these sailors enjoying their first way out on the Atlantic Ocean. And as we said earlier, you can always follow the rally on our webpage, worldcruising.com, and of course also on our Facebook page, ARC Atlantic Rally for Cruisers. And we can see these pictures with the boats slowly heading out to the ocean. It's not that much wind. We have seen some shots both on one of our multihull boats, more sailing, and we also have the other one, Vakanui are Hanse 495, and these are 2 of the boats out there in this rally, but it is a lot of boats heading out here, about 150 boats from 30 countries. We have sailors out there enjoying this Atlantic Rally for Cruisers 2025. As we have said earlier, some of them are veterans, have made a lot of crossings, and some of them are beginners doing their first Atlantic crossing, enjoying this nice weather with light winds and beautiful sailing out there this day. And we could see earlier in this dockout that we had a lot of families and spectators waving them goodbye in the harbor. Many people are also nervous maybe to now let them go out on the water and see how the weather conditions will be out there during these weeks. Some boats are planning to arrive just in about 9 to 10 days, but many of them will be around 3 weeks until they arrive in Saint Lucia in the Caribbean. Here we are on board the multi-hull boat More Sailing, heading out there for this rally and the crossing over to Saint Lucia. Bit relaxed over there, sitting and doing the steering in these light winds. Also maybe doing some last updates on social media and text messages to the families, saying goodbye for this crossing out there. And this was the start of Atlantic Rally for Cruisers 2025. We have had 3 starting groups. We started with the multi-hulls. We then had a racing division, the ones who are racing over the Atlantic and have really competition between themselves. And we have the heart of the Atlantic Rally for Cruisers, the cruising division, the ones we're seeing here, about more than 100 boats doing their crossing out there. And you can follow them on our webpage worldcruising.com, and you can also watch back on this broadcast in the full version later on if you like to. And with that, we will say thank you for joining us this this afternoon, and hope that you follow the race both on Facebook and our webpage the oncoming days. And as to summarize this, we'll say thank you for watching and giving you the replay of our 3 starts and wishing you a nice afternoon.